Hey ho everyone, and welcome to this interview with Icemaster, the manager of the winning team, the Dangerous Dracovishes. How are you today?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm also great. So, um, could you tell us maybe a bit about yourself as a player and manager, and also maybe your co-manager?
Yeah, sure. I'm Icemaster. I'm primarily an SS Ubers player. I've played other gens a little bit, mainly SV, including the ladder tournament, which I joined to learn the format in and scout the player base. I've been around for a while, so this was my fifth UPL, and I led the tier at one point, which feels a bit strange now, but I do know the community relatively well. It's the first time I managed UPL though, but I do have experience from managing tournaments in other formats, particularly AG. And in some of the previous years, back when Dave managed the Vishes, I was a bit involved on the managing side. As a manager, I'd say that I'm decent at planning drafts, but not so good at driving team activity and prep. Nova's really good at that. So I think our combo worked together relatively well. Nora pretty much has the same playing profile as me, so we both started playing SS Ubers in 2020 and we've been friends since then. I can also talk about the draft if you want, since we didn't talk before.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay, I think I mentioned I don't know old gens very well, and I have surface level knowledge in SV. So we definitely want to lock in at least one or preferably two big SV buys, which we did with Bacon and Shuri. Bacon in particular, I knew he was a huge threat in SS. I'd say he's a better player than me, but he's just not as good a builder, so I knew with help from me and Nora, he'd easily be able to win there. And then he just came off the ULT win as well, so I was quite confident he'd do well in the BL3 slot. Um, then to round off the rest of our SS, we bought My Java and a turn. Um, I'd watched both of their replays from UWC, and I was quite impressed with their records. So we were definitely quite happy to get them for cheap. I think they were like 3K each. Um, what else? Yeah, so for SS, I was relatively confident I'd be fine again. Luckily, that did happen. And then for the rest of the OTAs, again, as I mentioned, we're not good at them. So I focused on getting players who I thought would be self-sufficient and historically had good records. So for Usum, that was Rim. He he just generally always does well, and we knew that getting a good Usum would be important for Bacon to have support in BO3 since he's not fully familiar with that format. For Auras, we had the keys retain, so he did a little bit of trickery last year to I think he was 10k off 10.5k, and we were happy to use that again with retain. Um, for BW, DPP, and ADV, we just kind of made sure to get players who we thought were self-sufficient. So for DPP, we had a lot of names down because the pool was really deep. Um, but we ended up getting Society because they were nominated early on in the auction and went for surprisingly cheap for what we'd expected the top tier DPP players to go for. So we're quite happy with that. EVUelf was someone I thought was pretty funny, and he won Classic and I think the BW Cup within the past 2 years. So yeah, we're quite happy with that. For ADV, Haysup is just the guy who wins the most. And for GSC, I think Dombuster DM'd me the day or the day before the auction, and they told us something insane, like they went 9-1 in GSCPL, so that definitely brought them up to the top of our players we wanted for GSC after we couldn't get Vanny. Then for RBY, we ended up getting YBW because he won the ladder tournament. We had, again, a lot of names listed down here since the RBY pool was extremely deep, but yeah, YBW ended up being our slot and ended up doing pretty well. Um, then for our substitutes, I bought Wawa because um, they I think they won 3 tryout games in a row versus me. And then I was also just impressed off their ULT showings. They didn't qualify, but they were super close. And then Shiloh was someone Keys recommended to us as just an all-round sub, and again some extra RBY help since the rest of us can't do anything there. and then Enigami was another UI help and a GSC sub. These we needed a GSC sub essentially because Dawnbuster told us that they couldn't play week one, and also they'd need some help building GSC to start with.
Yeah. All right. So you've talked a lot about how you picked these players and what you expected them to do. What was the reality? Did all of them perform quite as you expected, or did you have also like some hardships with getting the team activity up and having everything go smoothly?
Um, so we did try to buy people who were friendly with each other, and we thought that would help keep things active, which it did. The team Discord was super active, and everyone was pitching in, which was really nice. We didn't expect that. Well, rather, I didn't expect that level of activity. Um, I was pretty confident in our team's chances from the start, and I did expect we'd make playoffs and thought we had a decent chance of winning. And the PRs seemed to back our team as well, which gave us some confidence. Um, I guess as a player as well, I didn't really expect people to catch onto my building style in SS so easily. This didn't really happen before. I think it was by week five, I was 1-3 and getting a lot of shit matchups, which was really on me. So I had to change the style of teams I used, which helped me do better. I also didn't expect so many people to come help us, which was really appreciated. And it's quite instrumental to us winning the tournament.
Um, right. So going after right after the draft, what kind of teams did you expect to have a difficult time with, and how did it all turn out? I believe in the first 7 weeks you've only lost in week two, right?
Yeah, we lost week two and tied week one and I think the final week went the Dialgas. But yeah, I think the team I expected to have the most difficulty against was the Melnetals and I think the Villains. Um, I think week one also we didn't have our best lineup in, and we knew that the Voyagers were pretty good, especially with Hack carrying their old gens. So yeah, I think week one, week two, and the start of week three were all quite rough. I think we'd had about 25 or 26 games, and we'd only won about 10 of them. So we were right at the bottom of the standings. And my own performances in SS, as well as our team's performance in SV, were just not really that of a winning team. So yeah, I think we struggled a lot in the early season, and thankfully we were able to turn it around against the no, the Dialga, sorry, the Durians. And yeah, I think after that, I personally started focusing on helping my SS and Bacon's SS. I stayed away from the SV building, which that turned out well because I guess our SV completely turned around their records after that week. Um, and yeah, I think we faced the villains in week five, and I think we won out quite well. It's because our SV was able to turn it around. So yeah. Um, other than that, I think later in the tournament, Entros, Dialgs, and their SV were a team we were definitely worried about. We had to play them twice in a row. Thankfully, I think our SV got 2 wins against them both weeks, which really helped a lot. And Hacks, Voyagers, and their old gens were a huge threat. So that's something we were definitely worried about in playoffs too.
So what were like your maybe players who performed a lot better than you expected, or overperformed the price tag you've paid for them, and would like have in mind for maybe future retains and in general plans for future UPLs?
So I think that's two questions really. First one, who do I think did really well? Well, Bacon, I think, went 7-1 in BL3. This is a difficult pool because you're having to play 3 different difficult formats and you're having to prep 3 sets of teams every week. So, yeah, I was really impressed with Bacon. Shuri didn't have the strongest record on our team, but I was really happy with the amount of helping he did in SS. If you count up his wins with the teams he built for My Java and Eternal as well, it goes up really high. Um, Other than that, Dawnbuster, I think had a super good record for their price, as did Rum, and Haysup as well did really well. So yeah, really happy with all those buys. As for future retains, I don't know. Dawnbuster said they're not coming back for the future, so we'll have to see what happens with that. But I think player skill levels change a lot in a year. It's really hard to say what you'd do in the future based on that.
Yeah, yeah.
And as for plans for the next UPL, I don't really know about that either. I don't want to commit by saying I will or won't manage again. It kind of depends on how busy I am. And if I did manage again, I'd probably need a manager who's really active after the auction to carry me. So someone like Nora. If they don't want to manage with me, then I probably won't manage again. I'd probably just be happy to play SS again. I mean, managing's fun, but it's like kind of stressful. So yeah, we'll definitely just have to see.
For sure. So, did you maybe have some personal highlight matches or matchups you really enjoyed playing in this UPL?
So for my own SS games, I think the finals game versus Lotti was a game I was really satisfied to win because it was a really difficult matchup, I would say, and it was the finals. So obviously, I really wanted to win that game. I think as well, playing against FC every year in SS is it's always a highlight. So I was quite happy to be able to win against him as well. Um, as for my teammates, I think Rum versus March Fires was definitely a highlight for me. I think we had a Fire CS which managed to sweep the entire end game, which, yeah, none of us expected that. Oh, yeah, and of course, Shuri's Mental Herb Necrozma versus Mashing
Oh
in the
yeah,
finals was
I
great.
remember that game. That was quite a twist.
Yeah, I think all of us in the game discussion were like, yeah, this looks over. But then we opened the pace and realized there was Mental Herb and that there was a chance. And when it actually happened, we all popped off. So that was really cool.
All right. Then, do you have anything else to add to this?
Um, Not really.
Oh,
Thanks for having me, I
yeah,
guess. And I've enjoyed the SS commentary a lot as well. So thanks for organizing that
yeah.
as well.
Thank you so much for being here. And this
That's all right.
interview now concludes the whole UPL content project. Bye bye.
Bye.